Let's try it again. I need to make sure I have to do it like we do in the classroom. If you can hear the sound of my voice, raise your hand. All right, so I'm back in PS 41. But again, good morning, everyone. I'm New York City Council Member Andy King. I represent the 12th District of the Bronx, which is where we are located right now. Today we are here to celebrate, recognize the life of a young woman who was a fabulous mother, a great wife, a good sister, a wonderful aunt, a beautiful servant for the 12th District of the Bronx, Miss Carmen Rosa. Put your hands together for Miss Carmen Rosa. Now, we're just going to have a little bit of housekeeping right now. We are located here under the train tracks. So there'll be times when whoever is speaking, if the train is going by, I'm going to ask you all just to pause so we're not all trying to figure out your message. So with that all being said, I'm going to right now ask that we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And at this time now, she's walking away with it. As I will always say, God is good and all the time. So we know that we could not be able to do this without the Most High being present. We know we would not be able to do it with the spirit of common blessing always. That's why y'all this wonderful weather was calm. Like, he didn't read it on my parade. Y'all gonna have a good time. You know, we got the water. What they're gonna do. So I'm gonna ask the ED sisters to come up and sing the national anthem. So at this point in time, I'm going to ask Father Gorman to come up and lead us in an opening prayer.
Thank you. Michael? Right. I'm going to ask when I speak that I came here today to celebrate, but also at the time of learning today. And I really would like a moment to mourn with my friends, because I didn't get the chance when you all let me dress today. I appreciate that very much. Let's bow our heads and pray. Father, we are not always grateful for the gifts that you give to us. Sometimes we are concerned to think that it is we who are the masters of our lives, the lives of our universe. Sometimes we forget that you're constantly sending us your graces and your blessings in so many ways. So today we are going to take a moment to say thank you for the blessing that you gave to us in the person of Carmen Rosa. Carmen was our friend. Carmen was our servant. Carmen was our mother. Carmen was truly a part of our lives. We don't have to say thank you for all the things that she did to make our lives better. So, prayers for these few moments, give tribute to you as we tribute to her, for all that she was, for all that she did. With all the ceremony here today, Father, make sure that our true love for Carmen Rosa is seen not so much in the erection of signs, in the saying of tributes, in the taking of pictures, and in the gathering of memorials, but our true remembrance and love for Carmen Rosa is seen in imitating her and her way of life. A way of life where love is a matter of giving and not taking. A way of life where joy was not in the matter of enhancing oneself, but in seeing the lives of others improved. A way of life that always lifted up and never tore down. A way of life that never gave in to mean-spirited, criticism, and to unnecessary nastiness. Yes, let us remember that Carmen is always here, because we see in one another our imitation, our reputation, our love, our decency, our respect for every human being. We ask this now, Father, in the power of the Holy Name. Amen.
Thank you, Father Norman. Everyone can be seated at this point. I know that for many of us who move on this earth, death is a somber moment. There's a scripture that says, the day of death is better than the day of birth. So it gives us an opportunity to reflect, love, and appreciate life, and the individuals gone back to Christ. Today is one of those days that we should smile and rejoice, that Carmen Rosa will always be with us. Just speaking with Alfredo, we said that, hey, her office is right here, so she's looking out over us right now. So she's making sure that her presence will always be felt with us, and we know in our heart that Carmen will always be with us. I know my first encounter with her over 10 years ago. She was always supportive of the work that I was doing with young people and offered every opportunity to give me guidance to make sure that I didn't step in the mud and get myself stuck. She was that sweet mother for me at times to lead me on a path to make sure that things always went well in any endeavor. So I will always be truly grateful and indebted to her. And my first proclamation that I ever issued as a New York City Council member, guess who we went to? This Carmen Rosa down at City Hall, my first celebration. So she will always have a special place, not in our hearts, but also in the 12th district. We're going to have some reflections this morning. We're going to have some reflections from a number of our elected officials who are here today. Carmen touched everyone's life. Not everyone will get an opportunity to share a few words, but when we break bread later on, everyone will be able to tell their stories. So at this particular time, not that this is going to go in any particular order, I want to ask right now the Borough President of the Borough of the Bronx to come up and bring greetings, our Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First of all, let me just thank Andy King and the New York City Council for having the sagacity and having the heart to understand what Carmen not only means to our family, but what she meant to all of us here in the Bronx, and for passing this legislation. Let's give the councilman a strong round of applause for bringing us all together. We're going to hear a lot about Carmen this morning. So many of us already know so much about her. The fact is that Carmen is someone who has a long history and all of the elected officials here, the Speaker of the Assembly, of course, Assemblyman Dinowitz, the DA. We've all shared the wonderful expertise and the knowledge that Carmen has been able to share with all of us in order to make our jobs better. And I know that there's so many of you and so many of us today who come this morning with heavy hearts. But we also have to be mindful that we have to celebrate a wonderful legacy that Carmen has left behind. One where, when she needed to be a consensus builder, that's what she did. One where she needed to be a cheerleader, that's what she did. She knew when to follow. Lord knows that she knew when to be the leader. She knew when to offer honey in a debate. She also knew when to slap some of us upside our heads. She is what we call a tough cookie. Someone who fought the good fight simply because of this wonderful idea. For some people, the idea is far-fetched. What did she want? She just wanted to make the life of the community she lived in better. That's all she wanted. She wanted to make sure that in all of her years, whether she worked at the Bronx Economic Development Corporation, in all of her years as the district manager, she loved this place called the Bronx. She loved this place called the Northeast Bronx. And sometimes people always want to point fingers, and sometimes, Father, people want to just cast the blame and say it's this person's fault, that person's fault. Sometimes people want to do well, but in their selfishness, they only want to do well for their little neck of the woods, their little area. Not Carmen. Carmen knew that she had to fight the good fight in her home, on her block, in the surrounding community, in her community board, in this section. And she knew ultimately that if all of this went well, it was all good for the entire borough of the Bronx. That's what we're here to celebrate. You know, just yesterday, the whole nation paused. And we paused because of that horrific attack that happened on our soil here in downtown, what we know as Ground Zero. But we also celebrate and we pause in the day of remembrance for our heroes and our heroines. You see so many young people this morning, Councilman, and I think that, unfortunately, in this day and age, some of them get a misconception of what a hero or a heroine should be. Sometimes people question, why is it that we do street names? That's because we want folks on a daily basis to look up. And then whether they knew her or not, to research who Carmen Rosa was. We want our kids to have a real example of what a heroine really is. I'll leave you with this. This lady fought for the community, never ever forgetting that Alfredo and Linda were her top priority. You talk about legacy, look what she was able to do. She has 2 attorneys in her family. 2 attorneys. I know plenty of attorneys who were born and raised in the Bronx and they leave us, they left us, they went someplace to go and make more money. But where are these 2 attorneys? One is at the DA's office, and the other one is the counsel to the Bronx Economic Development Corporation. And if you see that there's an economic boom in the Bronx, that's because of Alfredo's work and because of Linda's work. That legacy is what Carmen Rosa leaves behind. Now, Father, I'm not an expert here. I'm not an authority either. But in service, in public service on earth, the public service on earth, Father, is the price that we pay. Is serving our fellow human beings, our neighbors, is the price that we pay to get to heaven. Then I'm confident that Carmen got a first-class ticket and has the very best seat in the house up there. Alfredo, Linda. God bless you. God bless the Community Board Club. God bless the Bronx. And God bless the memory of Carmen Rosa, which will always live in our hearts and on this corner. Thank you all. And God bless you too, MC.
Thank you, Mr. Borough President. Right now, I'm going to ask the young man who represents the 83rd Assembly District to come up and share his moments and memories and give good greetings. Our Speaker of the New York State Assembly, the Honorable Carl E. Hasty.
Thanks, This is, as elected officials, we get to, unfortunately, do a lot of these things. But some of them really touch you a lot deeper than others. And Carmen and I had a very, very close relationship. From the moment I was elected, even before I was elected. And the first big project that we really worked on, that she really put a lot of energy on, as known as the remediation of the old pink site down on Boston Road, the Hexagon site. And we were able to get funding in the budget a lot based on the work that Carmen did. And ever since then, and I think that was around 2001, she and I had always worked. And for those of us in elected office who deal with constituent services, those of us who represent Community Board 12, we do a lot of constituent services, but I bet you if you added up all the work that all of our offices have done, none would have topped the amount of work in the constituent services that Carmen did in her role. And it's fitting that we're renaming the road here right outside of the office of the Community Board, where you really could have picked any block in this Community Board and put Carmen's name on it, because she can't so easily start every single block and every single person within this community. And there are times when people said it's easy for them to worry about themselves and say, well, this is Carmen left you one thing. At one time when she got sick. So why am I going through this? All she wanted to do was to come back to the work. And there were some days where it was so tough for her to come in here, but she still came in here and did her job because she cared about this community so much. And this community and every community that locked their Carmen Rosas, this world would be so much of a better place. And we say this all the time to the families of people whose relatives have given themselves for public service. And I say to Alan, to Linda, thank you for sharing your mother with us. She was very, very special to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to bring up our congressmember that represents our neighborhood, not the 17th, but the 16th now, Congressional District, the Honorable Elliot Engel.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you for getting your number right. I grew up in this neighborhood. So did my wife. I went to school on Dunhill Road with Andy Charles High School. So I've been in this neighborhood a long, long time. I've met many, many wonderful, good community people who worked hard and really cared about this community through the years. So I have to honestly tell you, there's no one I met who was better and finer, who cared more than Carmen Rosa. She not only cared for this community, she cared for the people in the community, she cared for everything about the community. There wasn't even one time through all the years and all the hundreds and hundreds of women in contact that I had, ever turned me down for anything. Whenever I needed something, whether we needed to have a space to have constituent community services for people, she always provided it. And she always greased the path for it. Not provided it and just kind of paid resources, but always as to how people she never ever said no. It was always, of course, how can I help? What can I do? And when you get to know somebody really well, I said this at her funeral, you really get to know what kind of heart that person has. I want to tell you, I've met lots and lots of people. I've been in Congress for 27 years before that I stayed in Assembly. I've met a lot of people, a lot of good people, a lot of people who cared. No one had a better heart than Carmen Rosa. No one. No one. And it's customary when you have something like this for everybody to get up and say nice things. That's what you do. But it's especially poignant when you can speak from the heart and you can speak from personal experience.
Can I get up right now so I can see somebody?
So I just want to say to the family, thank you for sharing your mom with us. Thank you. Our lives are all enriched because we knew Carmen Rosa. When I look at a kind of a public servant, whether it is someone who's elected like some of us, or someone who volunteers, or someone who just does his job about the community, she set the gold standard. She set the gold standard. Everybody can only do just so much. She did just so much and then some. So I just want to say that I know my life is rich because she was a really good friend to me. And believe me, it's not a matter of getting up, my getting up and just saying it. I knew her very, very well for many years. And she always interacted, always did this, and had one concern, and that's the people of the neighborhood in which she lived. She didn't have an ego. She really didn't. She just wanted to know as she could help. So again, thank you so much for sharing your mind with us. I always will think of her, always, and always look toward her in terms of what am I doing, what should I be doing, how can I help, how can we make the community better. She knew that. She didn't have to learn it. No one had to teach it to her. She had it inside her. She had it in her gut. She knew what to do. And again, even though she was sick in later years, you would never know it because all she did was have a smile on her face and work hard to care for her. So our lives are all enriched because we knew Carmen. And I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful tribute to her to name this state. And I thank our councilman for doing it. And I thank all the elected officials and all the community people that are here to say thank you so much, Carmen Rosa. Thank you for enriching our lives. Thank you for telling us what should be done. Thank you for the gold standard of what to do. We will always remember you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Up next, we'd like to bring up to the microphone the one that makes sure that prosecution goes right. The Honorable our Bronx District Attorney, Robert Johnson.
To the Rosa family, the Guerra family, the family, all of us that are going through the family. Good morning. There is some sorrow, of course, because we're all children. I have to share with you that when I walked down and go this morning and looked up and just saw the public sign here, it brought a smile to my face. So I expect to have an even bigger smile in a few minutes, because this recognition is so fitting and appropriate. I have to say to Councilmember King, and I'm sure our Community Board Chair, Father Gorman, also has something to do with it, as well as many others, that I have never seen such quick movement and recognition of the community service. Thank you for taking it to the final community and getting it through the council, because we all know that every day that we go without recognition, really that we are not here with the city board. I, like the others, spoke that the whole company is making the way. She never told me this. I solely believe, and knowing how to watch it, that the number one job she was concerned about was that of work. Like the others who I've been spoken, I've gotten to see Alfredo and Linda up close. And I know that she was proud to the very end. She went knowing that she had done it herself. Alfredo is such a talented lawyer at the OABC. Linda is kind of a hub in our office. She does a number of things for a number of different departments, but then she adds on to that little Carmen Rosa flair, and that she wants to sit down and counsel everybody about what their problem is, what their need is. And we are an office of 800 letters people. And I don't know, maybe I know 300, 400 names. Linda's got to be up in 700, 800 and beyond. She really knows the people in New York. And I thank her for that. The other facet that I know Carmen has is the district manager, the public person. My district manager here at Community Board 12. And one of the ways that I know her is that she understood what we were doing as a district attorney board. When we felt the need to bring our convicted assistance unit away from 161st Street, because we know that victims need to be ministered to all over the county, we found one place that was a need and really a number of victims, and so far away that we felt we needed to be close. Carmen opened the door here at the community center. And our convicted assistance unit to this day is still able to have counselors and therapists minister to the needs of this community and the nearby community because Carmen saw what we needed. In addition to that, as I said, I'm one of the constituents. I know that for all of us in Community 112, when we called, and I know it wasn't just because I was the district attorney, I know it's because Carmen said, that's right. You know, if somebody on any of these blocks didn't have their garbage picked up, had a problem with clean streets, whatever the problem was, she knew that that was appropriate. That's what we're all here for, to minister the needs of others. And the final way that I saw Carmen, and so many others, is as a friend. I always knew. I met her now 28 years ago. I always knew that she was concerned about me. In the beginning, I was an unknown to her, but she still put herself out there. And then as the years went by, it never, ever diminished. She would think about things that I needed, that I didn't think about. And she would remind me what had to be done. Not because it was for Carmen, but because she cared for me as she did for all of us. The last thing I want to say is that I think it is so fitting that we're naming Carmen Rosa Way. But it's even more fitting that it's not Carmen Rosa Street, Avenue, or Boulevard. Because the word way is something that we for all of us, when we look up to that sign, it should be a message to us that we are going to live life the Carmen Rosa Way. That is without animus, without ego, without feeling that the light should center around us, but with the resolve to speak up for our neighbors. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Deere. Our next speaker, it is 12:20. Now, in the 12th district, we try to do things on the 12th. So at 12 noon, we wanted to unveil the sign. If we're not able to get that 12 o'clock, I will tell you at 12:12, we will unveil it. So when you come up to speak, share your thoughts. And I don't want to be Sandman Simmons up here, but do what I have to do. So right now I want to bring up our assembly member that also shares his community board with us from the 82nd, 80th, 81st assembly member, honorable representative.
For 12 minutes. You know, events like this are really bittersweet moments, especially this one, because through so quickly in getting this resolution passed, it's really very fresh in our minds. And you know, losing Carmen was really a horrible blow. There are a lot of active people in our community that are sitting right here today. Many people who contribute a lot, but how many people among us can say that they have impacted the lives of as many people as Carmen did? And the answer is very few of us can. She has touched the lives, literally, of thousands and thousands of people. And for that, we should all be very grateful. You know, I really can't remember when I first met Carmen. I can't remember a time when she wasn't the district manager. It's been a long time. When things go well, when good things happen in our community, very often we as elected officials, we get a lot of thanks, we get a lot of credit. But the truth is, we can't get things done if we can have other people who help make us look good. And I can tell you that over the years, when it came to the Wakefield and the Woodlawn portions of my assembly district, anytime we had an issue, anything we needed to get done, when we called Carmen, she was there. She never said no. She was very efficient. She was happy to work things out. She was an incredible person for our community. And, you know, Community Board 12 has a lot of really active people. And I can say this, and I hope other community boards don't get angry at me, but when I go to Community Board 12 meetings, we always have the largest turnout of any of the community boards that I represent. We have great people on the board. We have Father Gorman, who chairs the board. But Carmen was the one who was there on a day-to-day basis and made things happen. So she not only made our community better, made our community look good, she made us look good. And she never, ever said no. You know, when people in the community, when they walk by here, not everybody knows her, because she was the one who was in there, working the day-to-day. She's not the one who's out there getting her picture taken all the time. But when people look up there, hopefully they'll see the name Carmen Rosa and reflect on it. I hope that people always remember and get to know what she has done for all of us. And a person who was not only an incredible worker for our community, but an incredible family person as well. That's the type of person we hope there are more and more of. Carmen Rosa is an example, I think, for everybody, and I, for one, am very grateful for everything she has done for the communities that I represent and the communities that she represented. You know, I've lived in the Bronx all of my life, and that's a lot of years now. And I've met a lot of people as well. And there really are very few people like us. So Carmen, thank you for what you've done. We have a new district manager now. You're a pretty big guy. Carmen wasn't so big, but I gotta tell you, you have all three big shoes to fill. So good luck on that. But thank you, Carmen Rosa, and congratulations to everybody for giving us Carmen for so many years.
Thank you so much, Sept. We have two more speakers before we go into the community, but I do want to acknowledge, you mentioned, Brother George, you have some wonderful shoes you have to fill in. Hope you got some large socks or whatever you're working with over there, but something to get the job done. But we want to recognize our new district manager here in the 12th district, George Torres. As well as Miss Rose's partner in helping the Bronx as another district manager who is here, King Kearns from New York Kings. Also, I'd like to recognize Ann Larian, representing Senator Ruth Hassel Thomas's office. Ms. Larian, thank you for being here. As well as District Leader Jamal Bailey from the 83rd Assembly District. And at this point, I'd like to bring up Brother Cecil P. Joseph to come up and say a few words.
Good morning. I'm going to speak to you on a very personal level. I know Carmen for the last 50 years. We walk the same path together. We practically raised our children together. When Carmen was, she knew that her days were coming to an end. She had one request of me, and that was for me to take care of her children. Make sure I'm there for her children. And I told her, as I mentioned previously, that she has young children. They can take care of themselves. In fact, they can take care of me. She said, you better take care of my kids. I said, I will take care of our children. So for Alfredo and Linda, I can't tell you, I miss your mother, I miss my friend, and I can take care of support. Also, when Alfredo phoned me up his mother's passing, she asked that I be given you at her funeral. And I thought about why she asked me to do that. And the reason why, because she knew me. She knew that I would go to events and I would do a cameo and I would leave. This time, she wanted to make sure I stayed.
And I am preparing to make the remarks about Carmen. I realized how important she was to me, and how important she was to everybody that she touched. And there was two positions that she held at the highest esteem. One was as an educator teaching at Monroe College for 20 years, because she had a positive impact on improving people's outlook on life, especially as a role model. And I can't tell you, when the students came back from school, because I taught also at 17 years, when the students came back and they looked for Professor Unveiling, or Professor Rosa, and they told her of their success, tears would come to her eyes, because she was so proud of them, and so proud of the impact that she had on their lives. The other position that she held very highly was that of district manager of Community Board 12. Father Gorman, she loved me. You know her like, I was going to say that, but I was to be kind of careful with that. As husband and wife. In fact, Father Gorman, sometimes I was kind of jealous of you, but that's okay. But she really loved coming to work every day and making a difference. And as everybody said, she didn't do it for herself. She did it because she wanted to improve the quality of life of those that she was serving. In the Catholic religion, I was taught as a child, when you pass a house of worship, when you pass a church, you make the sign of the cross. Okay? You make the sign of the cross because you want to show your respect for the teachings of the church. Well, when I have the opportunity to go by 229th Street and White Plains Road, I'm going to make the gesture of 2 thumbs up and a wink of an eye to show my respect to my friend Carmen and for all the work that she did for this community. She was outstanding public service, she was unselfish, mother, aunt, sister. She was just a beautiful friend. And today I miss her more than I had missed her 4 months ago. And I guess I'm going to keep on missing her because she had such a great impact on my life. To Councilmember King, I too want to thank you for the sponsorship, the way you got this through the city council. I have never seen the city work so efficiently before in my life. And I just want to thank you on behalf of the family. And you know what, maybe Carmen just have something to do with this as well. Thank you, Pastor.
All right, it is 11:49, 51. All right, so we might be going into the 12 hour. So I'm going to say to our next couple of speakers, if you get a signal from back, kind of wrap. There you go. I'm going to have to call it right now. So right now, I'd like to bring up my 2 close friends who work with us. One is our great commissioner from the Department of Transportation and represents our Commissioner Constance Moran. I'd like for her to come up and bring some greetings as a good friend of Ms. Rosa.
When I first became the Goodmore Consultative President, the first woman president of that association, Carmen was one of the first people to call me. She wasn't even a district manager at the time. She was working for Sam B. You all remember Sam B, I'm sure, as the district manager. And Carmen called me, and she also called another party that was very important to Community Board 12, Mary Laura, from the Wakefield Community Association. And both Mary and Carmen invited me out to dinner because they wanted me to know what it was like to be a woman in Community Board 12 in a place of, I don't want to say honor, but somewhat importance. And Woodlawn is a very small part of Community Board 12, but Carmen treated every part of Community Board 12 as if it was her own home and her own street. Carmen, when I started to work for the city 20 years ago for the Department of Transportation, she was then the district manager. And she reached out to me immediately and said, I'm so happy to know that I have a friend in government, but anything you need, let me know. And she was my rock sometimes when I needed to call her. When we've had, you have days in government where everybody loves you, but there are days when everybody can't stand you or what you do. So Carmen, many community board meetings afterwards, Carmen and I would sit down and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and lament what went on, but we'd also know we would live to fight another day. Carmen, from a personal aspect, never forgot to ask how my family was. During some times when I had some sickness in my family, Carmen was the first one to call. Is there anything I can do for you, Connie? What do you need? I'm there for you. And I think Carmen was like that for a lot of people in government as well as on a personal note. I'm so proud to know that Councilmember got this done quickly, but I'm also proud to know that I knew Carmen. And to her children, I must say, there was never a time I spoke with your mother that she didn't mention both of you. And God bless you, and I know she's looking down at all of us today and saying, I'll keep the sun shining just as long as you don't talk too much. So I'm finished, and thank you all for being here. I'm my friend, Carmen Rosa.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well said, well said. So let's see how you can follow that act. So I'm going to tell you to come on up here now. You ready? Our new parts of the Commission of the Bronx, Miss Iris Rodriguez-Rosa. Come on, give her a hand.
Well, I have a minute, 30 seconds. I just want to say, for me, it's an honor. Having been formerly a district manager myself, I know what it is to be able to be inspired by a community, to be able to serve the community, and to do that. And the job that Carmen had as an educator, as a district manager, and also importantly as a mother, those are three very, very important professions that a person has and that are loved of the community. I haven't to serve with Carmen as commissioner, unfortunately, but I do say this, that fortunately I do share a name with her. My name is Iris Rodriguez-Rosa. So I happen to share a wonderful name there. So congratulations to you, Councilman, for doing this. Congratulations to the community that was able to work with her so closely.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. And we're going to ask the family to bring some words, but before we do that, we know that Carmen, when she wasn't here, she was working at Monroe College. So I wanted to ask Gary Axelbank to come up and give us a minute of reflection and care from the College of Monroe that's located in the Bronx off of Fordham Road. And those of you know it, that the Monroe Mustangs have done a wonderful job in the athletic program. There you go. So Mr. Gary Axelbank.
Thank you very much. I want to take a moment. I don't know how the time is working. A lot of people know me from my TV show Bronx Talk, but a lot of people don't know that I'm also the Director of Community Relations at Monroe College. One thing which has not been mentioned, Carmen was a professor at Monroe College for more than 30 years. That's right. So in addition to all this other stuff, she taught at Monroe College. And I remember when I started the college, I was sitting in my office, and she walked by, and I was like, David, what are you doing here? She looked at me and she said, what are you doing here? The fact is, she was beloved as an English and liberal arts professor for literally more than 30 years. And so I just wanted to establish that that's an aspect of her life and who she was that really should be mentioned here, because we talked about her mother and her community and everything else. She's also a wonderful educator. And we all know the importance of education, and she understood that from the get-go. So thank you very much, and likewise, Carmen.
Thank you, guys. So at this point, we want to take the next 5 minutes from the family. So we'll here to come up and say a few words. Alfredo, Linda, come on up. Come on, let's do better than that. With love.
My sister always makes me speak. I don't know why. I hate it, but it is what it is.
Good afternoon, family.
Oh, we gotta do this again.
Good afternoon, family.
I call you family, not because we're all blood relations, some of you are, but because we all share a love. I can't tell you the work that she has done. You can tell me that. I can tell you the many nights she'd come home after a community board meeting to do the minutes.
I can tell you back before things were digital, she had a protector and many nights she had a typewriter on her kitchen table and she'd be typing before that. I can tell you the many times she woke up early and got food for the meeting. So I can tell you the meeting was fully packed. I can tell you the countless times she'd come home after meeting with Father Gorman and pick up her shoes and tell me about anything. I can tell you these things, but you know better than me. You know the things that she has done for this community. What my sister and I can tell you is the personal side of my mother. Many of you know my mother succumbed to cancer 4 months ago, and that was her 8th battle. Many of you didn't know that because she was a very private person. But after every single battle, after every single time, the first question that she asked every time she went to the doctor's office was, when can I go back to work? And I need a doctor's slip. And I would tell her, Ma, you don't need a doctor's slip. Yes, I do, because you have to document it. You have to do things right. And it's weird because that's a trait that people have lost and people don't remember. The way of doing things right. You go into work early and you leave late. Not because you want accolades or not because you want overtime, because there's work to be done. You provide a doctor's bill so your boss doesn't know that you're off buying something and shopping, so that you do things the right way. She used to always tell my sister and I, never fight because in the end, you two are all that you're gonna have. And she was right and she was wrong. She was wrong because I have all of you. I have the love and support of her friends, her family. My sister will always be there, and I know my sister will always be there, but we have all of you now, and that's something that is priceless, and thank you. To Councilman King, I echoing the words of everyone else. I've never seen something happen so fast. When we were at City Hall, people were there for years trying to get streets dedicated, and I thank you. This is a testament to what she has done for this community. She sat in that office for 26.5 years, and it wasn't up until the last few months that she said, you know what, I think I'm going to retire. I don't think I'm going to leave this time. I've never met someone, and I'm not saying this because she's my mother. I'm saying this because it's honestly true. I have never met someone in my entire life who is so selfless, who never asked, what am I going to get out of this? How is this going to work for me? What can I benefit from? And it was solely, how can I help you? How can I mentor you? How can I support you? What is it that I can provide for you? She was a lifelong Bronx resident from 161st Street to Co-op to here. The Bronx was her heart. I don't think she ever wanted to go into Manhattan. She dressed a few blocks from here at Woodlawn. This was her essence, and to be honored in this way is, I can't put it into words, and I can't thank the councilman, I can't thank the elected officials who helped, the president, the congressman, the speaker. I can't thank you all enough. The support that you provided to my mother and to my family has been priceless, and I thank you.
At this point in time, it is 12:02. Oh, I think we're rocking and rolling. We got 10 minutes. So it gives me an honor and pleasure. We want to give you sisters, aunts, uncles, nieces. Give someone else a camera. Get another camera person. So right now, it is with great pleasure that I Councilman recognize Ms. Carmen Rosa, a first-generation New Yorker, a true champion in our community, and made a lasting, positive impact in the lives of the residents in the Bronx and beyond, particularly from her with the Bronx community compelled the federal government to clean up a hazardous chemical site that endangered the residents. And whereas in 1995, after serving 7 years as the Bronx Community Board District 12 Assistant Manager, Carmen Rosa became District Manager. From the start, she demonstrated unwavering dedication to improving the quality of life for residents of Community Board 12 and throughout the Bronx. Whereas, during Ms. Rosa's tenure as District Manager of Community Board 12, she played an instrumental role in getting a toxic site known as Hexagon Lab cleaned by the Federal State Department of Environmental Protection, ensuring contaminants contained at the site were no longer endangering residents. And whereas, in her role as District Manager for the second largest populated district in the borough of the Bronx, Ms. Rosa responded to the needs of young people and submitted a proposal to the mayor which identified a potential site for an all-inclusive recreational facility. And whereas Ms. Rosa worked with the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation, the South Bronx Economic Development Corporation, and the White Plains Road Merchants Association culminated in a revitalization program with local industrial merchants, developing a vital economic engine in the 12th district. And whereas Ms. Rosa's advocacy work with the Department of Aging and the Human Resource Administration led to the implementation of a satellite SNAP program, that's Senior Nutritional Assistant Program, offered in the district. Because of her tireless commitment, HRA representatives are now available to meet with the residents 2 days a week. And whereas Ms. Rosa excelled in many positions in Community Board 12 and other organizations, her most valued prize out of all this that she's done and all she accomplished was being mother to Alfredo and Linda. And I say that, just give her a hand, give them a hand. There's no greater joy than for a parent to see their young people be better people. Whereas on Friday, March 20th, 2015, Ms. Rosa was called home, but her generous spirit will continue to sustain, guide, and inspire everyone who had the privilege of knowing her. Now, therefore, be it known that I, Andy L. King, council member of the 12th District, gratefully honor the life and indelible memory of Carmen Rosa by declaring East 229th Street between Lowry Place and White Plains Avenue to be named Carmen Rosa Way. Signed the 12th day of September in the year 2015 by your honorable council member, Andy King. Yes, I do. And at this point, I'm going to ask you all, before we do this, I'm going to ask one of my pastors to come up. Rabbi, please come up. And I want to say a shout out and thank you to everyone who's worked with Carmen Rosa in the community board. The team there has been dynamic. I see Ursula and a few others that are here. You've done a marvelous job in helping us, making sure that the 12th district, making Carmen Rosa be the best district manager that's one of the best district managers that serves this community. So I'm going to ask Rabbi, before we do an unveiling, to just say a small prayer over the family of this proclamation.
Holy God and our Father, we thank you for this wonderful family. Lord God, what Carmen has done, dear Father, it's in our spirit, in our mind, throughout eternity. May you bless this family. May you cover them, Lord. And dear God, all that are here today, bless everyone. We thank you, Father, and we give you thanks. In your name, amen.
Thank you. About 5, 6, 7 years ago, knowing that this district is the only district that does not have a dedicated community youth space, there was a fight reply that went out under the fight with Al Castro, the borough president, some of them were Paul Hasty, then Councilmember Larry Seabrook, and more importantly, Carmen Rosa. She helped spearhead that conversation and fought. the site that's located across the street from Spelman High School on East 229th Street. We have just been given word, thank you, Mr. Speaker, that the mayor is now officially releasing that RFP so we can develop that site and make sure we have a youth program. Keep putting in our city, the request of city funding that every year we always put in there that we need to have this youth center and identify. And this is again one of the many things that she spearheaded and put it on the path. It is, and I'm going to ask each and one of you to give us 10 seconds of what Carmen Rosa meant to each and every one of you as a family, because, as we say, we do things on the 12th here, the 12th, so we have 2 minutes. So we want to say to her brother-in-law, well, you know, we all brothers and sisters in this, okay? So,
I love the woman you could imagine.
She was my rock, my world, and my everything. My cousin Alfred, I don't like to talk in public, but this is really important. She was my Kiki Bay. I'm gonna miss sitting on the couch, her rubbing my head. She's part of the reason why I got my master's degree. She brought me my first job and my first pair of roller skates. I'm gonna miss her with everything.
How did she impact me? 31 years ago, I started with an agency, PCAS, in Cleveland. Today, first deputy commissioner of PCAS facility. And this is one of the facilities we have. I'm in the Bronx, they always told me, don't worry about Manhattan because it takes care of itself. And make sure that Johnson, the borough president, Ruben Diaz, and everyone in the Bronx is taken care of. That's how she impacted me and was always my family.
So I'm going to ask the family now if we can come over here to the rope here. It is 12:11. Pennsylvania, where are we? All right, there we go. Let's do it. 2, 3. Oh, there you go, there you go. Pull it out, go outward, go outward, go outward. There we go, there we go. Congratulations to the family. I'm going to also present the family with their all personal sign of Carmen Rosa Way.